Good evening. Welcome to the 5-8, where we discuss each of the week's 5 most fucked up topics for 8 minutes. 5 topics, 8 minutes, 2 hosts, a guest, some singing, a lot of curse words, and as many cocktails as we deem necessary. LB, how are you?
I'm okay. Feeling better?
No, I'm joking.
I'm feeling better. How are you feeling?
Oh, I ask me after I have a couple sips of my Manhattan.
Okay, that's nice. Have a couple sips of the Manhattan.
Yeah,
Hey, we were backstage for the watching the 5, 8.5 on Wednesday nights.
We were,
yeah. And I got a couple shout outs to the hosts, Lisa and Nadine. So Nadine announced that she's got, and I looked it up, and she does. She has like one of the top 100 fastest growing Substacks on Substack. Oh my God. And I didn't write down.
Wide Awake America.
Wide Awake America. Okay. I say it backwards. So Wide Awake America, which is fantastic. And I'm signed up for it. Everybody signed up for it. That's great. And then Lisa has this book coming out. And after the show on John Roberts.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, except for the one thing. So that we're going to kind of, not big spoiler, but just a little bit in this first topic. But just that it was great to be like, after the show, then going and listening and getting like the goods on this book that's coming out in August on John Roberts. So I just wanted to give those two a shout out right at the top of the show for the great work that they're doing on Wednesdays. You guys don't have to, do anything different than subscribing here. It's on this channel. Yeah. But I thought that was a great show this week. I really like every week it's getting better. So
they're 4 for 4. They're 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
Mm-hmm. They're like
yeah. So
they're like the New York Knicks, but times 2. They're like 4
I know.
4. That's good. That's good.
So proud of our little family here growing. It's kind of neat. Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah.
All right. What about you? Other than feeling and your drink, how was your week?
My week was fine. My son's coming home tomorrow from college. He survived the year. A whole year, freshman year in college, which is
amazing.
No small thing. And I think he's liking it. I think he's excited about classes next year, which even 6 weeks ago I would have never have thought possible. So that makes me happy. These things are, it's the little things that make one happy. And Lord knows we have to find the little things. Also, we have the new Pope.
And we have the new Pope, which we're not doing a whole segment on the new Pope as much as we've got some, fantasy Star Wars.
I talked about it this morning, so it's not.
You talked about this morning. Everyone's talking about it. Let's see how he does. I'm excited to get to know him. I'm not Catholic, but, I loved our last Pope. So let's see. He's an American.
He's Rob from Chicago. How bad can he be?
Yeah.
No one from Chicago has ever done anything criminal or weird. I think it's fine. We're in good hands. No, I'm excited about it. I really am. I think he's going to be.
No, it's the Pope. Yeah.
The Pope. Yeah.
The Pope. I think we're just going to say it like that. And Phil, listen, I'm from Chicago a little bit.
I am
there for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a little baby.
The first time I was ever in Chicago is we were connecting flights to go to Los Angeles, and we landed in Chicago, and my brother, who was like 5, threw up in a trash can, and then we got on a plane and left. And that was the entire experience of Chicago for many years. We land, Jeremy throws up in a trash can, we leave. Good stuff.
I forgot your brother's name is Jeremy too.
I know. All the stuff is getting revealed here. All the dirty
all the things are getting revealed.
Yeah.
I love Chicago. I think it's a great city. So I'm thrilled. We'll see what happens.
All right, we don't want to keep our guests waiting.
I don't want to keep our guests waiting at all. Should we dive into it?
Let's dive in.
Get into it.
Hit the timer now.
Timer's going.
As you see, we have a sort of Star Warsy.
We have a Star Wars theme.
We have the Star Wars theme going on, which means nothing to the time. So you talked about this. Often we'll come up with topic ideas early in the week, and then by Friday it's rear view. But this one is very important because there was a thing where Trump was talking about the Constitution, saying, I don't know. Do I have to do the Constitution? I'm not sure. Who's to say? And everybody's sort of making fun of it. But you saw something there that other people weren't talking about, except for one person. So why don't you tell us?
I'm not sure how much I saw it. I saw Judge Ludwig, talk about it. And he's done it. He did a couple of times because it raised every red flag for him. And so when this conservative Justice, retired. Is he retired? He's retired now, I think. I don't know. Everybody might remember him from testifying at the J6 or something around in there about the constitutionality. He's one of the big conservative legal minds that was a judge. And this part I can say, because this isn't a spoiler or anything, that Lisa shared with us of like, if you remember, I didn't remember this, when Bush, Shrub, the junior, was looking to put in, when he was nominating John Roberts for Chief Justice, there was several names being floated around, and the other person that was up for that job was Luttig. Yeah. So that's how far back he goes.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been around the block
a long time. He's been in those circles a long time. And I want to get to what he said about that, because what it triggered for me and tripped up in my brain was this reality that we're in, that we didn't know we were in. This thing that's been this dark, shadowy thing in the background that's been going on, affecting our nation, affecting our courts, affecting, these Republican legal think tanks like the Federalist Society and everything. We know about them now because Donald Trump sort of caused us all to learn about it and focus on it. And Republicans knew their own little weird shit that they had going on for a long time. But I just never paid attention to any of it. I didn't have to, who has to learn about this stuff? Why do I have to know the name Leonard Leo? It was all like, and all of a sudden we had to learn about this stuff. So if everybody can remember, when Bill Barr was going for Attorney General, he wrote this letter back in Trump 1.0. He wrote this letter to Donald Trump, this very long letter. I read some of it because it was published. It was like sections of it were, I don't know if the whole thing was, appealing to Donald Trump, saying, this is a school of thought that I come from out of these conservative legal think tanky things. And he came from this sort of executive powers, right, thinking. And he wrote up that whole letter, and it was like, I believe in the executive power theory, or whatever they have.
Unitary executive theory.
Unitarian executive theory, meaning when the president, it's not that the president is above the law. It's the president is the law when he's in office. He can't break the law. And if you try to constrain the president with the laws that you would apply to a regular citizen, then he's not going to be able to do his job. I guess I only say he because there's no she, but he's not going to be able to do his job because that's going to constrain him when there are things like national security and considerations that are above the norm and part of the powers of the office. So therefore, the president is sort of de facto above the law, and everyone was outraged about learning that this theory even existed. But the Republicans, these guys, and the politicians involved in them, in their weird little think tanks, have been cooking that shit up for decades. So it wasn't new to them. It was like, oh yeah, it's those guys, the Opus Dei guy over here. If we were in like all of a sudden learning about different branches of Catholicism, it's like, oh, it's that strain over there, right? So, and then of course the Supreme Court ends up ruling that, after he's out of office, that he can't break the law when he was in office, and it undoes everything. And oh my God, and everybody's hair on fire that the president is above the law. The Supreme Court just ruled that the president is above the law. Okay, so I just want to bank that because it's really important. Then we thought that was sort of it. We thought that was the Supreme Court taking the presidency and turning it effectively into a monarchy, right? We got a king now, and all the pundits were calling that the king, but it's not. I didn't realize that's a precursor. That's the thing that had to get decided to get to this other strain of theory and thought from the even more grotesque and bizarro world of inside out Republican think tank legal folk, right? That Judge Luttig informed us all exists. I didn't know it existed, but it exists. And he calls that strain of thought constitutional denialism. So these are lawyers inside this sort of Opus Dei. I don't know what I know. I'm bringing religion into it, but it is.
They bring religion into it.
They're very weird. It's J.D. Vance. It's like this constitutional denialism, and what that strain of thought is, and that legal argument is, and position is that the Constitution is at what the Constitution says. The Constitution is not what the Supreme Court determines the Constitution to be. So Constitution, as Ludwig's term is, he framed it constitutional denialism, I believe, just this week. But because he's trying to come up with a word for it, but he heard that in Trump's interview sit down with Kristen Welker, when he was saying, well, I don't know if I'm bound by the Constitution. I have very smart lawyers.
Who's to say?
And so he was saying what Ludwig heard in that. It's like when I hear Trump, I hear all the mob shit, right? But Ludwig comes from that world of those think tanky weirdo strains, and everybody's got this philosophy over here, and like Ivy League secret societies, right? Those fraternity weird, like the owls and it's like that. It's like that. And so he was like, oh, his antenna went up, and he's like, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about, because he knows who the lawyers are in the room. And what Trump also said, if you listen carefully, is he says to Kristen Welker, I don't even know if that's what the Supreme Court is saying. You're saying that, but I don't know that that's what the Supreme Court is going to say. And I have very, very smart lawyers who are arguing this point. So that's the argument of whether the president is bound to the Supreme Court's determination of what the Constitution says. What that effectively means, if his lawyers successfully argue this, and this is all around the disappearing of people and denying due process and all that, is that it's not that the president is above the law. It's in effect that the president is the law. That the president determines what's constitutional and where he is and isn't bound by the Constitution, because there is no higher court that can make that determination. He makes that determination. So I just think I don't know. I just want to talk about it I was like, oh my God. So they had to strategically get this unitary executive theory that all executive powers, I had to get that determined first, so that he had all this power, so that then if they could get it determined or argue effectively that the Constitution is not determined by the Supreme Court, he's a king. It's a 1-2 punch. Those two things go together. We've just all been being dragged along this sort of playbook that these lawyers have been cooking up, these weirdos, these traitors have been cooking up for 20, 30, 40 years. As soon as they saw the country was going in a direction where it was was trying to form a more perfect union. That's not what these guys want. And if they can't gerrymander and do all this stuff to sort of cheat and make sure that they've got their person in there, and even they get the court that they want, Mitch McConnell skipping down with his polio legs down the hallways because he's finally got all of his justices. He finally did it after 30, 40 years working at it. I've never seen him more gleeful, and all of a sudden he's it's a miracle. He's so happy. But when he could jam Amy Coney Barrett in there, oh, good, Beta against our side. We can do this now. Well, we can do what? They can do this. This is the end game. This would allow the president to just disband the Supreme Court. It truly makes him, you can't get rid of him. You could just say, no elections. There would be nothing anyone can do if this argument succeeds, that his lawyers are making, it's like it's opening up. It fundamentally changes our nation, completely changes it. And I know the alarm went off, but I also had this thought of like that there are people who have just been sitting there just because they can't have the white nation they want. They can't, oh God, what are these gay people? Like they're seeing things they don't want to share. They're those people, right? And they don't want to not have things the way that they want to have it. They literally just completely undo the Constitution, that the profession they actually went into, they're using all of it to turn everything inside out. And this means that, and that means that, and it's upside down and inside out, and and it's gone now. Country's gone, so therefore we can have what we want. The amount of time and energy, and it's just words. It's just thoughts and words and arguments, right? That is just going to, kill a lot of people, basically.
Yeah. Which is also,
if you boil it all down to where this leads, it just leads to a lot of mass suffering.
Which is the point and what they want.
And also concentration of wealth, like we think we see concentration of wealth. This would be a whole other level.
Yeah.
Anyway,
if we're gonna just adhere strictly to the Constitution, can't we all band together and just enforce the 14th Amendment, Section 3, and throw this fucking traitor out on the grounds that he's not eligible? I ask just to the air, maybe to the new Pope. Maybe Leo the 14th can help us with this. Okay, these are big thoughts. These are big thoughts. I've got no comment on the big thoughts.
Okay, good, because we're already over time.
Yeah,
we're already over.
All right, let's move to the next topic, which is we said the Phantom Menace. We need to talk about Hegseth a little bit. I put him and his wife on the card for this episode because it's really, everything in this administration is so batshit, right? And all of these clowns that he's picked for these positions. Today, he put Jeanette Pirro to be the acting DC district attorney. And she is probably the most qualified candidate of any of the people he's picked. And she's fucking awful, right? But that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
Boxwine lady is the best of the bunch. So now Hegseth, we've already lost two of these $65 million or whatever the hell they cost airplanes off the USS Truman. They just fought. Whoops! I don't know. It was here. Now it's gone. I don't know. I thought it was parked, and I guess I forgot to put the emergency brake on. What are you going to do? And I know that's probably not Pete Hegseth's fault, but it is Pete Hegseth's fault because he's the fucking, defense secretary. So the Houthis are just there. The Truman is there to fight the Houthis. They don't fucking care. They're just bombing shit no matter whatever we're doing there ain't working. Maybe it's because I don't know. They know about all the fucking attack plans because they read them in the signal chat.
Oh my God.
This is a guy who put all this shit in a signal chat, war plans in a signal chat. Anybody can and then the guy who's, started the group, this Witkoff guy that you talked about, is in Russia with his, hey, I got a new text from the defense secretary. I guess we're going to bomb the Houthis. Like, it's that level of stupid.
Yeah.
And it's easy to just make fun of this. And I want to make fun of it, but it's also really fucking serious because this guy is in charge of defending the country. Yeah. And he's in charge of the entire armed forces apparatus, which involves a lot of human beings who have sacrificed and decided to go into this line of work because they feel honor and because they feel commitment and because they feel that they want to serve the country, right? And this same week, the trans ban has now, or it's going to go into effect. Of course, the Supreme Court. Alito is such I hope there is a hell so he can burn in it. Dante's down there like, we got the new circle going. He's going right there. It's going to be like one of those great adventure rides. He's going right down the slide, this motherfucker. The trans ban in the military is stupid on so many levels. It's evil and it's hateful and it's stupid and it's bad policy. It's all of the things. First of all, it's a complete waste of money. You know, all the Republicans, we have to cut this, we have to cut that. Well, now you're going to get rid of, I don't know how many thousands of people that have been in the armed, you know, that are embedded with all these different.
Well, the investment into them too, into their expertise. And
look, I worked as a recruiter. Every time somebody leaves the company, and you have to hire somebody else. It costs money because you have to train the person, you have to recruit, you have to source people, you have all this shit takes time, and time is money, and money is energy. You lose institutional knowledge when people leave. And so it's a waste of money. It does not make the military more safe because it's arbitrarily picking people out of across the plane of the military. Just suddenly somebody's not there anymore, right? Times however many people there are that are affected by this. It's obviously a fucking civil rights violation. I mean, come on, you know, you're not allowed to discriminate based on something that the person is inherently. That's fucking obvious to anybody. Yes. Any of these, like Judge Ludwig, ask him, you know, anybody that has a brain in their fucking skull knows that this is wrong. They may not like the trans community, but they know deep down on an objective legal level, this is no different than throwing all the black people out of the military. It isn't. I'm sorry, but it isn't. And it's just as vile and disgusting and disgraceful. And the fact that they're going around yammering about it like they've done some wonderful anti-woke DEI thing is disgusting. It's disgusting and it's disgraceful. And the final thing I want to say about the trans ban is this. These are brave people, all of them. Yeah. They're brave enough to have signed up and enlisted in the military and to have succeeded in the military, for one thing. And they're brave enough to have come out as trans, which is not easy to do. And it's especially not easy to do in that environment. So you're taking some of literally the bravest people that we have in our armed forces and just firing them for no fucking reason. Also, I forgot that they're all going to sue and win. Also, there's going to be that. That's going to cost money and time and all this sort of stuff. So, and the people doing this, okay, the guy whose daddy's podiatrist wrote him a note to get out of Vietnam, he can't even have a real fucking excuse. Not even a real excuse, just a bullshit excuse. Just bullshit. Fucking coward. Coward Trump is. And Hegseth, this is where I'm going to end with this, okay?
Yeah.
This is my theory. This is pure speculation. You know how his wife is at all the meetings and his wife is on all the Signal chats? You know why that is? Again, this is my speculation. He said, taking a sip of his delicious Manhattan.
Okay.
Pete Hegseth, again, my opinion, is so fucking drunk and incompetent and so stupid and so incapable of doing the job. He's not violating security by having Jennifer Hegseth there. He needs her because she's actually running the Defense Department because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He can't even mix his own drink without her help. That's my opinion.
Cassidy Hutchison.
He is useless. Yes. She's that, but he makes Mark Meadows look like fucking MacArthur. Okay. He is a useless person. I don't know what he's good at, but it ain't this. He cannot do anything. His executive functioning is zilch. He is a fucking loser. And the idea that this guy is some kind of raging alpha, you have to have your wife do your job for you, dude. That's pathetic. It's just pathetic. Fucking resign in shame, if for nothing else. That's it. And I'm waiting for, I'm happy to be proved wrong here. And I don't have any intelligence. This is my speculation, but I'm right.
She's in all the meetings.
That's why, because he can't fucking keep either. He's so drunk he can't keep it straight, or he's too stupid to do the job, or both. Bad. I go with I'm guessing both. I'm guessing.
Okay, I think it's bad. I think you're right. I'm going with your theory. Yeah. It feels right to me.
Sorry, this guy's such a fucking asshole. I hate him so much. Every week, my most hated person changes. God, it's so exhausting. It's exhausting. Anyway, I hogged the time. Do you have any?
You did not. I turned it off because it was about to go off. But there is one more person that we haven't actually ever had anything to say about, and there's a whole song for him.
It's weird how that is. It's such an oversight on our part.
It's an oversight.
Yeah. Stephen Miller, wicked as they come, thinks he is a genius,
but he's super fucking dumb.
Stephen Miller, trafficker of hate, an ornery unfuckable that no one wants to date. Nosferatu crossed with Andrew Tate. Stephen Miller has the final say, puts refugees in cages and he takes their kids away. Stephen Miller, white supremacist. Why is it always losers who are big eugenicists? MAGAs are all fasci, but he is the fascist.
Even though Congress and the Constitution clearly say that you can expel invaders and illegal aliens.
Fuck off.
Stephen Miller.
Emo as a tween.
Anyone that he don't like must be MS-13.
Stephen Miller knows he don't belong.
He does Donald's homework, but he always does it wrong. On this MAGA Gong Show, it is time to gong the gong!
Fuck off. All right.
So this is now, I've programmed this to go live on the YouTube page at 8:45. So after the show's over, we want to retweet the fuck out of this because this guy is apparently a big snowflake and he doesn't like the public eye. He doesn't like to be criticized. He doesn't like to be made fun of. So we're going to really try hard to make this shit go viral. And thank you to Chunk and Lolo and Gal for helping out on the voices. And I don't know who said fuck off in there.
I don't know who that could have been.
I don't know who that was. It's a mystery to me.
All right, should we get to our guest?
I think we should get to our guest. I think
we're a little late. Sorry.
I think it's time. She literally needs no introduction.
She needs no introduction.
Yeah, we're gonna give her one anyway. She's an actor. She's an activist. She's an artist, and she's a fantastic human being. Rosanna Arquette, welcome back. How are you?
Arquette!
Hey, you guys. Oh, God, that was a great song. I loved everything we're talking about. Oh,
how you doing, Ro?
Oh, God. I am just I'm learning how to do these breath work in this time, which people have talked about so much. Like, you got to learn breath work, and it really works to calm the nervous system down. So my friend Francis Fisher put up this thing about that divers do. So you take inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4, let it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all the way out, just that. So you have no breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, and keep doing it as a cycle. I'm telling you, it really does calm your brain down. If you're like ADHD, which, it helps a little bit of reactivity here and there. And I need it. Then after saying that, I had a huge scream in the car where I just needed to. Well, the GPS got me lost in the rain for like 45 extra minutes.
Oh no!
Where the hell I was going, and I was trying to get back here, and I was like, "What is happening?" And so I just like the safest place is like I can just be in my car and just let it out, and it was just like, "Fuck you, Nazi fashion!"
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but yeah.
And speaking, now we have this new Pope, which seems Leo. He's American, Pope Leo, and he's mixed race. Like, wow, this is wonderful. And so, but I wanted to come on because I was at the UN, a few years ago, doing a speaking thing, and I found this children's version of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and I thought I would come and read it.
I love that you're doing this.
So,
we love it when you come and read things.
I think it was just, so it's the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, an adaptation for children by Ruth Roca and Octavio Roth. One day, a large number of people gathered together. They came from different places, and they were quite different from one another. Some were men and some were women. Their skin, their hair, their eyes were different colors. Their bodies and faces were different shapes. They came from rich countries and poor countries, from hot places and cold places. Some came from kingdoms and some came from republics. They spoke many different languages. They worshiped different gods. Some of the countries they represented had just come out of a terrible war that had left many cities destroyed and an enormous number of people killed. Many people had lost their homes and their families. Many people had been hurt or killed because of their religion and their race or their political opinions. What brought these people together was that wish that there should be no more war, that nobody should ever be hurt again, and that people who hadn't done other people any harm should never be punished again. So all together, they wrote a document. And in this document, they tried to make a list of the rights that every human being has and that everyone else should reflect. This document is called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this is what it says. It doesn't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter what language you speak, what your religion is, what your political opinions are, what country you come from, or who your family is. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter what part of the world you come from, whether your country is a kingdom or a republic. These rights and freedoms are meant to be enjoyed by everyone. Everyone has the right to live, the right to be free, and the right to personal safety. No one can be someone else's slave. No one is to be hurt or to be punished in cruel or humiliating ways. The law must be the same for everyone. The law must protect everyone. People have the right to be protected by the courts so that their rights are respected. People cannot be arrested or sent away from their country unless it's for a very serious reason. Everyone has the right to a fair trial. No one has the right to interfere in other people's private lives, in their families, in their homes, or in their correspondence.
Wow.
People have the right of free movement within their country. People have the right to leave any country, even their own, and then return. No person or people shall have their nationality taken away from them. This means everyone has the right to belong to a nation. And they also have the right to change their nationality if they want to. All men and women have the right to get married and start a family once they've reached a certain age. It doesn't matter what race, nationality, or religion they are. A man, a woman can only get married if they want to. Everyone has the right to their own property. Anything that belongs to a person can't be taken away from him or her unless there's a fair reason. Everyone has the right to think the way they like. People have the right to hold opinions and to tell other people what their opinions are. And they have the right to practice their religion in private or in public. All people have the right to meet together and to form associations, but no one can be forced to join an association if he or she doesn't want to. A government's authority comes from the will of the people. People must show what they want, that they want their government to do by voting. Everyone has the right to vote. Everyone has the right to work, and people have the right to choose the kind of job they want to do. Everyone has the right to good working conditions. Everyone has the right to equal pay for equal work. People should earn enough to keep themselves and their families healthy, to give them enough food to eat and enough clothes to wear, somewhere to live, and medical attention when they're ill. All children have the same rights, whether their parents are married or not. Everyone has the right to go to school, and school must be free. Everyone should have the right to be taught a trade. Education should emphasize understanding, comprehension, tolerance, and friendship. People have duties towards the place where they live and towards other people who live there with them. Nothing that is written in this document may be used to justify taking away the rights and freedoms set out in this declaration. Many years ago, this declaration was approved. However, not all countries respect this document, and this is why everyone ought to read this document and why it should be taught in schools all around the world. And that is that.
Wow, I love it.
That's great. That's
Where
great.
did you get? You got that at the UN?
At the UN in the gift shop. I
It's
bought
the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Who
Right.
wrote it?
the children's version, an adaptation for children by Ruth Roca and Octavio Roth. And I bought a bunch of these for kids.
Thank you,
I thought they were
Rosanna.
birthday presents. So whoever I gave this to years ago, kids should still have that. That's good to hang in there. But then I
Thank you
wanted
for
to
doing
sing
that.
a song
Yeah.
that Irving Berlin wrote that I thought about today in my car after I screamed. I sang this song and cried a little bit. And it's this Irving Berlin song. God bless, and this is for Leo, Pope Leo. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, our home, sweet home.
Oh, thank
Bravo.
you. Bravo.
Bravo.
God,
Oh,
protect America and protect the world and protect human beings and protect the planet and protect our children from all this energetic hatred that we all feel, especially if you're an empath. And I think many of us are. This has been energetically like, whoa, really intense. So you have to like take breaks, meditate, do yoga. I'm trying to I just say these prayers and try to come from love, but fail daily, at least once a day in that somewhere. We all do. Just.
I think screaming F-bombs in the car is a perfectly good thing to do. Also.
that's good too.
I vouch for that.
Yeah, I blast music. I listen to a lot of music. And you told me to watch that mob show which is really good.
Oh, you watched
Oh
Mobland?
Mobland, is really great. And Pierce is amazing in it.
He's amazing in it. I know.
And he's wonderful. Yeah. And everybody is. And God,
Yeah.
do I love Hardy. Oh, God, I love him.
I know.
He's
Tom
such a-
Hardy. Tom
such
Hardy is
Yeah,
it's just a dream.
he is a dream. And everybody is. Helen Mirren is in it. And
Yeah, they're all
they're
brilliant.
all wonderful acting. And
It's brilliant, brilliant stuff.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that was fun. That's so I'll just escape and I don't like violence, but it's super violent, but it's really good. So I have to close my eyes because I can't.
Yeah.
I do this and I don't look at the violence, but I know it's happening.
Yeah.
So we have enough fucking violence.
All right. Well, we will. What are you through it? Are you caught up on it?
No, I'm not all the way done. It's really good. I'm about 4 though. I'm 4 in.
Okay, you're getting there. You're getting there. All
4
right. It
is
gets really, really. It just keeps getting better. Yeah.
So
So entertainment being important, escapism, whatever it might be.
That app I love that I've been doing, give them a shout out because it's really good. Boho Beautiful, and they have all this yoga and yoga lattes and meditation, and it's like you can move your body and just go check in for 15 minutes and do your legs, and it's like a million different classes, and you kind of just to keep you moving or if you're feeling really anxious, like I have, I'll go and try to do a little exercise, not enough exercise, but I need to be walking, I need to be on the bike, I need to move like that. So I just do a lot of yoga lattes.
Yoga lattes.
But moving our body is important with all this stuff and eating the right stuff and not too much sugar and really taking care of our health right now because everybody's getting compromised. Like people I know getting COVID right again and it's not funny. So everybody's just keep your immune systems up. This is is so dark, and we have to just like breathe a lot and tune it out, man. Turn it off.
Yeah.
Let
I want to go back to the book you read, because I was having this experience while you were reading it. I've been kind of wanting for people to speak really basic and plain. And I keep saying that over and over again. But actually, I think it's the folks that wrote that. There are people who are, writers and thinkers and scholars who are brilliant at taking very complex things and condensing them down into the language so that children can take it in, and it resonates with because I feel like kids know the truth. Like there's some lines in there that was like, everyone, it gets this, children, when you're around kids, especially like kindergarten age, first graders, and you say, no, everybody gets the same. They all instinctively know that that's right.
Right.
I just like kids know this, it rings a bell for them. And maybe we need to like enlist the folks that do what those authors just did with, okay, we're going to take human rights and write them in a way for children. I need that. I don't want the complicated stuff anymore. I want the books for kids, because it boils everything down to these basic truths that human beings just
write that. You guys should write that together. Do that be like actually
resonate. I don't know if I have that. That's like those are people who have like psychology degrees.
No,
I don't know. We could look at it.
Greg for sure do that.
Great. We could, but that's the language I think I've been trying to say. This is what we need. I think it's whatever that discipline is.
Songs. It's like this, like writing the song lyrics,
Yeah.
Like,
it makes me think of the Shel Silverstein poem, like the children. When you say the children know, like the children mark, or the children know the place where the sidewalk ends.
Yeah.
That's
there's
something weird, magical about that.
The Giving Tree is my favorite kids book, of course.
The Giving Tree, yeah, the best.
And the man was happy, and she's a stump.
Yeah, he's got a stump to sit on when he's old.
It's like, took her everything. Here, give it all, give it, and then she's just a stump. And the man was happy.
Oh my God. Okay, so the next TV show for everybody to watch is something called Northwood Survival.
Wow, what is that?
And it's from last year.
That does not sound like something.
No, it's on National Geographic. And I want to talk about it a little bit because Rosanna, it's perfect for you. So it's, I'm way up here in the north, and like we had a brutal winter. It was rough. But anyway, so I'm watching this thing, and it's people in Canada, great Canada, but in the sort of tundra.
Canada, our enemy.
Up in the bush. So it's people who decide to like, they can't do cities, they can't do people. They go up and they just have land with trees, and just with the trees, they themselves with their hands build their shelter. They figure out they know how to trap. They trap their food. They actually from what seems like nothing, but it's, the whole thing of the land will provide for you if you're willing to fail and willing to learn. So we're watching it and we're like really into it. And there's this one guy who's like kind of got this cabin already, and he's expanding it. And he all of a sudden, and we're like, wow, my husband's like, oh man, we could build a deck because we're trying to build this deck. We could do it. They could like harvest these trees and build this stuff. It just makes you feel really grateful for everything you have. And then he like goes to eat, and he's got a squirrel because there's squirrels everywhere. And he's eating a squirrel. And he's like, listen, here's a woods trick. If you don't have any salt and pepper, you leave the fur on.
Oh no!
And my husband, who you all know, my husband goes, stay in the woods. Stay in the woods. You stay in the woods. Don't come down. But
I'm going to not watch the show. I'm not watching the show. I'm not watching it.
It's amazing.
Once the Wi-Fi flickers out, I'm out.
It's amazing.
I'm not one of these survivalist people. People
I
can
don't
eat
think
my
we-
fur for the salt because I'm not sticking around.
No.
Just saying.
I don't think we need this level of survival skills, but I think it is really something that these are folks who literally have to be in nature, building with nature 24/7 to feel like they've regulated their nervous system and they're going to be okay. And they talk about that constantly of like not being able to be in the city. They can't handle the world the way it is. But this, which to us looks so extreme and oh my God, how can you, it's so hard. To them, it's the only way to live. And it's healing for them. And they are completely talk about being detached. There's no cell phone. There's no news. They don't know what's going on in the world. They just know I've got a forest here and I've got to build a shelter.
They
so
do play Wordle, though. They do play
I play Wordle.
That's the one thing that they do.
Yeah, they do play Wordle. So there's somewhere in between these places that I think we can find a way to, as Ro was just advising us, find your car to scream in, find your way to regulate your nervous system, find the breathing techniques, make the healthy choices, and just find the words that are simple enough to remind us of the most basic truths that we should all be holding dear. So anyway, that's me connecting those dots, but
yeah.
I think that's what we need. And I'm so glad you came on. I'm so glad you texted me, said, I think I have to read this.
I texted, I saw it, I called Stephanie, I said, no, I called you.
Yeah. You called me. Yeah, you called me.
I said, I think I should come on the show and read this children's book.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me.
Anytime
Loved
you want
it.
to come on the show and read a children's book about human rights, we're here for you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the greatest. Thank you, Rosanna. Anything else you want to say? Do you got anything coming up? Anything?
Oh yeah, I did a movie with Charlie XCX and Alexander Skarsgård. That'll be fun. And
that's pretty big. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my family and I we're all going to meet up and do something funny, and I won't say it here.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm supposed to.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
And then, yeah, it's all good. I'm just trying to stay out of the spiral, which is, daily work. I could just go into the spiral of like, and I'm just I'm not going to the bottom. But I'm in the middle a lot of the day, trying to rise,
Are you watching the news or are you just keeping away from it?
No, I get, online news mostly. I watch I just like The Guardian,
Yeah. I feel like social media, even though here we are on, YouTube, I don't know, guys. It's so, I can't handle it at all. And I think it's
dark. It's just getting dark. It's getting cruel. It's dark and cruel. And the energy of that makes disease, guys. The energy of it gives you an ulcer.
Do you think though, don't you think?
Yeah.
Did you feel any I don't know, recalibration in things this week? I feel like this Pope thing is a big deal.
Oh. No. I feel
in a zeitgeist spiritual way, not to get woo woo, but I really feel like it was a good thing.
And amazing that this happened. Because Francis knew and brought him in, so he came in through that. And it's great that they went this way. And there's a lot of stuff that they needed to work on, but like you said earlier, Greg, to me too, we agreed on the Pope who just passed Francis. He was like he was getting way more open,
Yeah.
Inclusive and not perfect, but a lot better than anybody we've ever had. And now,
well, he was a true Jesuit priest, right? I mean, it was fascinating how different that was. Even like when he came out and I was a little jarred by the first image I saw of the new Pope Leo, because he had all the vestments on again, whereas Francis was always just in that. He was just he just didn't do any of the anything. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah, the Pope is.
But the first time, maybe it's the first time he was the Pope. That I think the first time Francis also was bejeweled.
He wasn't, but I forgot that was a shocking. He wasn't at all, and I forgot that was a shocking thing. There was a lot of news about that because he just came out in the white. Yeah. But it's even just visually, because I wasn't at home. I was driving around, God knows doing what, when that news broke, and you guys were all texting me, and it was all exploding everywhere, and my mom and everybody is like, "Whoa, my God, new Pope!" And it was so fast, so it had to be that Francis, right?
2 days,
but to then come back to the visual of it, it struck me not anything about Leo, but just that, oh, that's how different Francis was. Like, he really put everything on a different set of train tracks, and
that's a good
observation. Showed what was possible. And I love this guy, Leo. I think it's going to be very interesting.
From America, he's American. He's mixed race. It's great. Like, thank you.
Don't you feel like too? Do you guys feel like there was sort of a reaction to? I think Trump sending that meme and being that arrogant. Oh, we lost her. Darn it.
She might be gone.
Yeah, that was when it spirals like that. We know it's going.
Okay.
Well,
I guess that's the end of the segment. That
was
great.
No, that was so
always
good.
Great. Rosanna Arquette, great to have her on always. And,
always.
I really enjoyed the book. That was such a cool thing. And you're right about, getting it into the most simplistic or not simplistic, the simplest way of phrasing things. And I think that's part of the challenge in all this. There's so much noise out there to try to bring it down to things that people can understand, like without all the bullshit, like the Hegseth thing is, this guy he's a clown and he's in charge of defending our country from things. And it's insane that we would have this person in charge of this. And it should be something that universally is horrible. Everyone in the country should be like, what the fuck is the deal with this guy? Why is this guy here? And we're too many people are in this spell of madness. And I think part of it cuts to what you're saying about the language. The language they are very good at subverting the language.
Hang on. We lost you.
Like my computer went out. It like just blacked out.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh God, it's just what we're still on, and you're on. I'm on live with you on my phone.
Okay.
Hang on. Do you want me to put you on speaker? I'm going to put you on speaker.
Okay.
Hang on. Okay.
Somebody definitely. It's blacked out. The whole thing just went black. It's plugged in, but it says it has no battery. It's completely plugged in.
I blame the Russians. I always blame the Russians.
It got zapped as we were talking about the Pope.
Greg says, I blame the Russians.
Always.
I do too.
Yeah. I do too, actually.
Yeah.
This is like constant. And I know that's not user error because you have the person there helping. Yeah. So it's what it is. It is what it is, guys. So normally when this happens with Ro and I, we just say, fuck you, Nazis.
That's what I constantly say. Fuck you, Nazis. I mean, Nazis aren't cool. I don't know what everybody was thinking. These people that voted, all these people that I know, they voted for the wrong reasons and just put us in this situation.
I know.
That's really so ignorant.
So
anyway, I don't want to hang out with Nazis, and if I wouldn't go and have dinner, at Hitler's, palace. No. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't sit down because I know already what you're about, and so why would I waste my time, your time?
And you're getting a lot of love from the comments. People putting up your blue sky. She is all heart. Yes, Rosanna, I share your pain. Too many damn Nazis. Yeah. So It's a good.
Oh, hi,
We're
Tony.
so glad that you joined us, Ro. Thank you for coming
Love
on.
you guys.
We all
I
we
hope
Love
love
you
you.
too.
I hope
Thanks
I
for
get
coming
my
on.
thing back, but I'm definitely. Is it gone? It's very weird. Huh? It's dead.
It's dead.
It completely is dead, guys. And it's in the wall charging and it's not coming on. Like I got zapped. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. All right. Well, listen. Just
We
be
love you
safe.
guys.
We love you. Turn off Alexis or Siri or whatever
I
it's
don't
called.
ever have it Lexus on. I hate it.
Okay, good.
I can't. I don't want it. It's so like that's the Nazi. That's a Nazi spy. I never had Alexa. I won't have it.
All right. And
No.
then you're on Blue Sky. We've got your Blue Sky up, and we'll put it up
Okay.
again. I can't do that, Greg. You have to do that. I think.
Okay,
Drew
she'll
Perry
put
did.
it next time she puts it up. It's
I lost my
it's a
social
clever.
media.
It's at Rosanna Arquette on Blue Sky.
No, it was beautiful. I was singing along with you, but then it was so nice that I was like,
Yeah.
no,
You can't sing along. If you sing along, the timing gets messed up.
It does.
Yeah. Don't sing along.
Oh, don't sing along. Okay, no, it was really, it was nice.
It was very good.
It was lovely.
Okay.
Thank you
All
for
right, well,
singing to us.
Got love to everybody. And let's just stay in the love as much as we can, guys. Let's stay in the love.
All right.
Amen to that.
Amen to
Amen to
that.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
honey.
Thanks, Ro.
Okay, that's our good bro. Such a good person. Oh God.
She is.
Thank
She is-
God. Thank God
Yes,
for
God
good
bless her,
people.
you know.
Oh
I-
man.
I wish there was footage of her screaming in the car, though. I have to say,
Oh
but
No.
maybe next time. Maybe next time.
well, I mean, it might end up on screen. You never know. You never know
It's
what we
true.
might end up
It's true.
seeing on screen.
All right.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Oh wait, what is this? What's our
Look, we're going to talk about Newark and what happened because,
Newark?
yeah, there's a couple of things
Oh my God.
that I want to share. So, what happened today is in Newark, New Jersey, which is 20 minutes from the town where I grew up. First of all, there's all the airport stuff, which we'll get to in a second. But today, the mayor of Newark, whose name is Ras Baraka, was arrested outside an ICE facility there, Delaney Plaza, I think it's called. He went there with members of Congress to inspect the facility because they're operating in violation of municipal code, et cetera, et cetera.
Which he has a right to do. It's
'Cause he's
actually his
fucking
job to do
Newark is
that.
the biggest city in New Jersey. Newark is a big city. Okay.
Yeah.
He's the mayor of this big city. Cory Booker used to be the mayor of New York, for people who don't know.
Yes.
So he goes there and he's arrested. And on X, on Elon Musk's cell site, all anybody's saying is, my God, these Democratic operatives tried to riot at the ICE facility, endangering the officers, lock them up, whatever. No one's above the law. All this shit, like Alina Haba said in her ridiculous tweet. So he gets arrested. And what's crazy about this is a couple of things. First of all, we just finished watching Andor, and this literally happened in Andor. So we're going to talk about that in a second too. But
yeah.
So there's two things about this prison, right? This is a prison facility, and I want to show you a couple things. So this is the first thing. Okay, I found this in the Colorado Times Register. Immigrant owner of ICE detention center doubles his money with Trump, and I know it's too small to read, so I'm going to read it. The man who is making a killing. I'm sorry, this is written by Michelle Daly. This was posted on March 13th, 2025.
Okay.
The man who is making a killing from Trump's current onslaught of immigrant persecution is himself an immigrant. In fact, if George Zoley had been born just 20 years later, he'd more likely be cowering inside the Aurora Detention Center instead of raking in the profits from it. Again, this is written in Colorado, which is where this detention center is. At this point, the ICE processing center run by Zoley's company, Geo Group, is well known for its sprawling size and reputation for brutal conditions. An unannounced inspection of the facility in June of 2024 by the Department of Homeland Security found numerous violations, including failure to provide appropriate medical care to detainees, failure to document solitary confinement, and even failure to provide pillows to those forced to sleep on cots and concrete, The center has been the defendant in numerous lawsuits related to conditions within its walls. It seems the GEO group's tendency to inappropriately use solitary confinement dates back years, as Colorado Congressman Joe Neguse registered his concerns as early as July 2020 when he questioned Zoli at Homeland Security Committee hearing, blah, blah. But Zoli was not always in a position to abuse power. Instead, he started life much as the individuals his facility detains. That's the first piece. So again, these fucking hypocrites, this Marco Rubio-ass hypocrite, okay? This place in Newark is owned by this GEO Center. These motherfuckers made so much money, and I'm sure that the Trump people did the insider trading with it because they knew this was going to happen and blah, blah, blah. But
God,
just to, again, your point about the simplicity of words, and just to put a little pin in where we are right now. This is the New York Times article that was written today about the mayor getting arrested. Let's just, objectively speaking, just cast yourself back even 3 years and read this, okay, how bullshit it is. The Trump administration entered into a 15-year, $1 billion contract with GEO Group earlier this year to turn Delaney Hall, this is the facility in Newark, into a large detention center as ICE rushed to expand its detention capacity nationwide to meet the president's lofty mass deportation goals. That sentence, okay, is just that's right out of Andor, first of all. And it's
it is
insane that we're at this point, and including the fact that GEO obviously gave a fuck ton of money to Trump administration. The facility's location near major regional airports is expected to play a central role in the agency's effort to ramp up deportation flights in the Northeast. Maybe that's why there's all these fucking military planes around Newark Airport fucking up the flights, by the way.
Oh my God.
But the facility, which began holding its first detainees last week, quickly due to opposition from Democrats and local activists who argue that its location next to immigrant hubs in New Jersey and New York City would help accelerate the administration's deportation pipeline. That's where we are. That's where we are. This is, I mean, it's insane. And the person in charge of the FAA is this reality show guy, Sean Duffy, who has never met a camera he doesn't like. He just always, he's like my cat. Just, is my hair okay? Like, it's ridiculous, you know? Again, the people that they've put in these positions, how are people not seeing that this is a fucking death sentence for the country? This is a Kremlin op designed to kill us all. This clown is in charge of the FAA, and Newark keeps having these problems.
Yeah. So on that, so there yet again today or yesterday?
It was probably both, but today for sure.
Today for sure. Another 90-second, was it 30 or 90 seconds?
90 seconds.
Line.
Yeah.
April 28th was the first time we heard of this. I don't know if there have been other things, but to think that you like an airport like Newark,
the biggest
Newark
airport in the Eastern Seaboard, by the way,
the biggest airport in the Eastern Seaboard, international, everything, huge airport, that for 90 seconds they were blind. It just even like visualize the little things where we see all the planes on top of one another, all the little things of the screen of the air traffic controllers. The air traffic controllers were blind. And now I looked into that a little bit, and speaking about it at the time, coming out of the Department of Transportation run by Sean Duffy and the administration, as parroted through that Kremlin Barbie, I don't know which one, the one that the spokesperson, was that, well, the systems need to be updated. The systems need to be updated. It's all, and plus they're having construction, and they're always having, name me an airport that isn't having construction somewhere in it. Always. So something's, you just connecting it with the ICE thing, I think is the right thing. And then my mom, every time we have one of these, and again this morning, I know I talk about my mom every show, but she's so wise.
We want to hear what your mom has to say.
It's amazing. So, she was like, and yet again, I have to say, why isn't anybody talking about the fact that back in like February, way back when before the first thing happened, before the first one fell out of the whatever, it was Starlink's going to take over all of our airports. There was a big Starlink contract to take over for air traffic control, remember? And it never gets pulled through in any of the reporting about all the stuff that's going on. Plus, we don't know where we're at with that. So, because they backed off of it. Starlink backed off and said, no, we're just going to do these things, but not all systems, but just vital systems. It's like the same thing of like, yes, we're doing it, but no, don't see that we're doing it, because what we're really doing is taking a bunch of money and so planes dropping out of the sky. Maybe our shit isn't what we thought, but we're not really. This is my experience. Like on the receipt, what you guys see, that's what it feels like to me. Like anytime you're trying to, instead of just, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you, Elon Musk. I see you greedy, ICE prison, geo, whatever, who you are. I see you. This is just the commodification, I'm so glad she wrote that children's book, because it's as if we took our basic human rights, and somebody came in and figured out how to turn a massive profit by violating it.
Yeah. Well put.
And so that's what the game is. How can we have a massive profit over, rounding people up and taking them and sending them off somewhere? Oh, it's dark stuff. But yeah, we're trying to kind of, where stuff is local, do stuff local, where our local, for Greg and I, at least one segment, because we're both in New York. And he's a Jersey guy, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. But this is like a local thing that's about the nation, as they all seem to be now. But this should be, I hope this ends up being global news, that what happened today with the arrest of this mayor. The accounting.
This is a new line. It's definitely
a new line
to get across.
The accounting of the woman, the other woman who was there, said, "Oh no, he wasn't trespassing. They invited him, and then he stood aside and waited because there was something else that they were waiting for, and then they invited him, and then okay, now come in, and then put handcuffs on him."
Yeah, they wanted it to happen. And one more like kind of local thing that I want to mention is that one thing that this administration does is kind of like play on the stereotypes and stuff to try to get people scared. Yeah. And, in Newark is the largest city in New Jersey, and it's the sort of perception of Newark is that it's a dangerous place and that it's, there's a lot of crime, and this is the perception of Newark in New Jersey. There's lots of stuff going on there now that's different than what it was 25 years ago. Yeah. But the perception, I can say from my own anecdotal experience, is that Newark is, we can't go to Newark. It's not, so they're playing with that idea also, I think. I don't think it's an accident that they took the black mayor of a
it's like Chicago
city.
Or something. Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's another example of them being fucking disgusting and disgraceful. Yeah. And get the fuck out of New Jersey, Donald Trump. We don't fucking want you.
Well,
that's what I have to say.
God, I don't even know. I can't. But we got to move on to our next topic because it helps us talk about all this stuff in a more constructive way. Okay.
Rather than can we just swear like Rosanna swore in the car? I feel like this. I'm just kidding.
I think you're at your quota, Greg. I think
it's time for announcements.
Yeah, it is time for announcements. So what are our announcements?
We're off next week.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're off next week.
We're taking
a little break.
Yeah, it's my fault. We had a plan. Sorry.
I'd hoped it had been a little bit later, but Greg texts me and he's like, "Oh no, I RSVP'd to something a long time ago and I didn't realize." I'm like, "Okay, well we'll take one of our breaks now." So we are off next week, But we'll be back, and 5, 8 and a half continues on. So
5,
you
8 and a
have
half
Wednesday
continues on.
night. Tune in Wednesday nights for Lisa and Nadine. They're so great. I love that show. We have
It's
nothing.
really
I
good.
mean, we help support to make sure it got on the air and it's the format and everything, but I don't know what they're going to talk about until we watch the show, and it's
I don't know who
fantastic.
the guest is going to be.
We don't know who the guest is going to be.
We
So
do. We can look. We can check, but it's not.
yeah,
It's all them, and it's great.
it's all them.
It's so
Yeah,
good. It's such
so
a. I'm so
good,
proud
so
of it. I'm
good.
so proud of them and the whole.
And
thing.
Matt Foss's version of our song is like growing on. I loved it in the beginning, but now it's growing. So if Matt Foss is in the audience tonight, shout out to you, Matt Fossa. You just crushed it on that. Chunk always crushing it, but it's just fantastic. So that's Wednesdays. That'll be on, as far as I know, they're on this Wednesday.
I believe they're on this. I haven't
Yep.
heard anything to the contrary. So
Yep. And just
that's
subscribe and join and do all the things and like, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. We can't wait to be back. Okay.
wait, can I show you my shirt?
Yes.
I don't know if do you know the show? Wait, I'm going to try to do
Okay.
this so that I can make myself bigger. Okay. Here's my shirt. Do you know what that is?
No, I have a hard time seeing it.
I know. All right. If anybody knows, mention it in the comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
I meant to say it
like
before the Stephen Miller thing, because it is a vampire show. It is a vampire show.
It's a vampire show?
It's a vampire show.
It's not True Blood?
No. It's a funny vampire show.
Oh, I know which one. I don't know that show.
What they do in the shadows.
Yeah,
Very
I need
funny.
to watch
It's
that
very
show.
funny.
Yeah,
But you can't binge it. You can't binge it. It's because it's so much. It's so much that you can't.
Okay.
You can't binge it. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
So,
Clone Wars. What's the Clone Wars?
So you know how we were talking about a while back, several shows back, of like where there might be opportunities, and maybe when we saw some infighting and the leopards start to eat their own faces, that we can lean into those cracks in Magaland and sort of exacerbate it, and root for them to take one another out. Right? This is like a possible win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a fight that you made me aware of.
There's
a fight.
It's a cat fight.
Oh, don't say that. I guess so. It's two women. It's a cat fight. So Laura Loomer and Pam Bondi are throwing down. Is Pam Bondi responding to Laura Loomer?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone responds to Laura Loomer. I think it's
Donald does.
If you're the AG, you don't need to acknowledge that Laura Loomer exists. But yeah.
So this is all around the Epstein. I remember we also talked about this. This is one of the things we talked about back when we were like, okay, there's going to be fractures around this because there were promises made. These people have alienated themselves in Magaland from their family, from their friends, from their coworkers, from their community. Because they're so committed to the Epstein Democrats, the ring of pedophiles controlling the universe and drinking bloods of children, Pizzagate, Andrew Tate. I don't know. They're like, they have their world, right? This is a player. It's a villainous player, but Epstein is sort of like this stuff that we can't see, because if we see it, what it's going to do, all the redacted FBI files and everything they gathered and the evidence, the names of all the people, it's all going to be Hillary Clinton and George Soros or whatever, right? So they've demanded this, and Trump, in that, he knows how to talk to his silos of people. In that silo, which is a big part of the MAGA universe, he spoke to those folks saying, on day one, we're going to release it. And they voted for him because they want that. They want that more than anything, so that they can turn around and say, see, you called me a conspiracy theorist. You thought I was crazy. I was right. Blah, 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 blah. And Pam Bondi won't release the stuff. So now Laura Loomer's had enough, I guess.
I guess she's had enough. There's a lot of, it's not just her. There's a lot of anti-Pam Bondi stuff going on. There was like people saying like, we know there's an official in the Trump administration. there's an official in the Trump administration, and the Trump administration official has been hiding evidence about Jeffrey Epstein. Who is the Trump administration official? We'll find out. Like, it's that level of shit, you know? And it's clearly Pam Bondi because she's had the fucking files on her desk for a million years.
Yeah.
And said, I'm going to release these on day one, except I'm not. And she's not released them. So I think Laura Loomer's mad at Pam Bondi because the files have not been released, but she can't ever release the files because Trump is all over those damn files. Like,
right.
all over the, like,
Well, or maybe they're trying to clean them out of there. I don't know. So who do we support, Greg? This was our whole conversation before the show, and we had an involved conversation. It's like, who do we want to encourage folks to get behind in this fight?
Right. We had a very good conversation that we will not be having now. No, are you team Bondi or are you team Loomer? That's the question.
Well, I think where we ended up was, it doesn't matter. It's just like, just keep the fight going.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think it is a win. It's like, okay, well, he'll just find someone even more horrible. And it's like, no, I'd rather, the more they're back on their heels in chaos, this administration trying to figure out, oh my God, I got to get rid of the AG. And now who am I going to have be the AG? That's, I think, I want that. I'd rather not have it be consolidated power, singular direction. The empire is here. We're now just going to go commit genocide, which is what happened in Andor, which is what we kind of know. I'd rather have it be, they don't know, anybody know if they're going to keep their job or not. They don't know what they need to do. That feels safer to me, to have them be so incompetent, as you keep pointing out, and rightly so. Even though there's so much danger there's way more danger in a fully competent fascistic empire
Absolutely.
than a chaotic, it's hard to live through it.
Yeah.
But I think they're getting less done if they're spending time fighting with one another,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel, because this is the thing, like, these people came into the jobs and we weren't sure what was going to happen. Kosh Patel is another example, right? And we were going to talk about Kosh Patel this week because you were like, he's testifying. Something might happen. We have to keep an eye on this. And then you go, look, he's a fucking incompetent. He's out to, he's just, he thinks that because he's the director of the FBI, he could be like, I'm going to go sit courtside at the Knicks game. He's like, that's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm out clubbing. He lives in Vegas.
He lives in Vegas. He's at the casino.
I'm at the pool club. Prostitution's legal here. It's great. So,
oh my God.
that he's so busy trying to, like, I guess, work it's like an SNL sketch of him, like, at a bar, like, hey, babe, I'm the FBI director. What do you do for a living?
Well, it's like Playboy.
What's your major?
Right?
Mine's FBI director, Yeah.
Well, at Playboy, they stopped giving business cards. The true story. Stopped giving business cards to executives because people were getting a hold of that. If you pass the business card, then men would keep the business card, then go to the club and show the business card as if it's them. And it was it was a problem. So he's that guy. He's the guy that would take the Playboy business card from the Playboy executive and try to use it. So he's using that cachet. He's trying.
Of course, Jeffrey Epstein was also that guy, by the way.
Yes,
he did that with the Victoria's Secret people. But but I think he had at least 30 IQ points on Kosh. I
don't know.
I mean, did you watch any of that? Like the congresswoman she's like, so do you have the budget proposal? Because by law you have to give us the budget proposal. He's like, I do not. She's like, are you gonna get it? He's like, I'm not sure. She's like, but you're supposed to, like, by law, we need to have it like now. And he's like, well, I can't because it's not done yet. And she's like, yeah, but it's the law is you have to get it. And he's like, how dare you accuse me of not, I mean, it was just crazy. And he
didn't know the law. Director of the FBI. He doesn't know what laws he's bound by.
He doesn't know anything. And
he doesn't know anything about
I like to think that the FBI, I mean, and I was really worried about him because I thought the retribution stuff, but he may be so incompetent that it'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's what we have to root for. We have to pray to God and to Jesus and to Pope Leo that they're so incompetent that we're okay, but not so incompetent that we all die because of something RFK does. It's a very delicate balance.
It's a delicate balance. And
Delicate balance.
okay, so I want to talk about Andor just a little bit, even though
Okay.
our thing went off, because we
We can talk
named
about it.
everything after the Star Wars, and you're caught up on it.
Yeah.
And folks, if you don't want to even hear, it's not like, and we're going to give huge spoilers, but I do think the mechanics of how the story, the spinal structure of how the story was built is so clearly Tony Gilroy and others were took their time understanding how fascism rises up and takes over a nation, a world, a planet, a galaxy, and what are the sort of the steps, what are the goalposts along the way in order for a once sort of peaceful, thriving, even though there's problems, there's always wars and conflicts, whatever, but a galaxy of planets that were all self-determinate could come under the fall and the grip of one overarching empire that, you know, if for everybody that knows the Star Wars trilogy from when we were kids, from back in the 70s and early 80s, it was already, we were already there at this sort of done deal, right? Where the veil is off. It doesn't matter. It's Darth Vader. It's, you know, Palpatine. It's the Emperor. And it's like, they call themselves the Empire and they stormtroopers and they're just going and doing stuff. Well, what Andor does as a series is say, okay, how was the Resistance born? And what you realize is the Resistance was born. There were certain things that elements that were there and at play, but it's because the playbook of how this empire rose was so specific and so mirrors the what we are living through now and what has happened before. So the big thing is like the deportations or the mass arrests, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about when Donald Trump was running and he was saying this, we're going to deport everybody on day one, all these, and remember how everyone was saying, we're not going to be able to afford this. We were saying this, it'll bankrupt us. This is not going to happen. And yet, you know, they'll never be able to do it. The kind of manpower you would need for that. So in this series, Andor, the empire, which isn't really the empire yet, it's just sort of this, it's the people who control a lot of the money. It's like the bankers and the traders who trading as in trade, you know, the economy, the folks running the economy.
It's not an absolute despotism. Yeah.
It's right that it's, and that have representation in the Senate. But the thing that there's like an intelligence unit inside of it that's like crafting this shit, right? And this plans, what ends up being a final solution. And the big first thing is these arrests, like people are just getting arrested and disappeared into a gulag somewhere.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize while you're watching it in the first season until you get to the second season, holy shit, this was the playbook, because they know these people, the empire, they know where they're going. And this was just a step along the ladder to get there, right? Or along the chain. This is a link in the chain to get there, to get to the end of what they're trying to get, which is to have complete and total control over all of the resources in the galaxy and to determine who gets to participate in that and who has all of their liberties taken away from them. If there's a profit on the other side of doing that, which there always was, right? So watching that and then coming back and like reflecting on where we're at in this present moment, I just can't recommend it to people enough.
Yeah.
You know, and also that we're at this moment what we saw these past few episodes, it's the second season and it'll end with this season, is we're at the moment before the veil drop, before the empire decides, right before they're like, okay, we don't have to pretend anymore. We don't have to pretend to have a functioning Senate. We don't have to pretend to do any of these things. We just have total control over the galaxy and all the galaxy's resources, because they're building a mass weapon that no one would ever be able to come up against, that Death Star. You're seeing the people inside the empire, the folks that are the intellects behind how to get control of resources and things like this, and this sort of law enforcement, very high up law enforcement or management, right? Managing and budget, like the OBM, right? To how those folks are, and there's a moment before the veil is dropped, and it's so the emperor's naked, and so the fuck what? I'm taking all your shit. Before the empire is that blatantly to everybody, and everyone can see what it is. There are folks inside who are having to come to terms with that before they've completely lost their humanity. Inside the empire with positions of power, and you see some of them make it. They're going to go end up being, evil, because they're doing evil, but they don't know they're the bad guys. It's a weird thing. They don't think of themselves as the bad guys. They're not. There's no Darth Vader with the cape, and there's no arch villain. But when you commit a genocide, which is what's now the next thing, first it's all the gulags, and then it's a genocide, right? And they're in the middle of it. There's no denying what's happening. Yeah.
Although they try,
they do afterwards. They get the politicians to deny it for everybody. So there's just this, I feel like we're in that moment. I'm not saying to try to bring people out or anything. We're just at the moment before the veil drops. And it's like, because all of our outside of the United States, it's only inside of the United States where there's a large faction of people who are still really confused and think that they're the good guys and that this is a good thing to like arrest the mayor of Newark.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Or scoop up U.S. citizens that are children and are getting cancer treatment and send them away to some nation, and we don't disappear them. They think that's good. They think they're on the side of good and doing and da 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 da. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than just sort of bearing witness to we're in that moment.
Yeah.
And there are people who are going to go through a real crisis of consciousness. And I don't know what to do about those people. I just think we should sort of be attuned to, maybe we'll start seeing that now. Because you got to go completely in on this. The fantasy is becoming reality.
Yes.
The fantasy, all the dreams, all those lawyers cooking up all that stuff. Oh, we're going to undo. If we make the argument this way, we can get the Supreme Court. And then who needs a Supreme Court? And it's all just a sandbox of ideas that they're just navel gazing to, revel in their own whatever, their own fantasies and their own brilliance but it's happening. And so now it's real. The fantasies are becoming real. And we're going to have to really watch and pay attention to these folks in power, as incompetent as some of them may be, but also some that do, are all of these business owners just going to go along with all of this?
Yeah.
What are these gajillionaires? Are they're all on board? We're going to see.
We're going to see. One of the things also that's interesting, and that was a good summation of it without giving up too many spoilers.
I tried. It was a little tricky.
You did great.
Okay, great.
is how much how much it wears on the people who are in the rebellion, and how hard it is to actively fight, and how long it takes, and how thankless it is, and how it might not end up well. Now I'm gonna spoil a couple lines. So if you don't want to hear the lines, turn off the stream now. When Luthen says to Andor, "Yeah, we're gonna get hanged. They're gonna hang both of us at some point.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna go." And I don't think it had occurred to him yet, but Luthen's always right. And there's a great dialogue where Andor's complaining to Luthen's like second banana there, like, I want to make my own decisions. And she says, "Isn't that what we're fighting for?"
Yeah.
That's a great
It's
line.
a great line. Yeah.
But the thing I really want to highlight, we've had now almost 2 full seasons of this.
Well, he wanted to quit the rebellion. He said, "I
Yeah.
want to make my own. I'm quitting. I want to make my own decisions." And
He
she
doesn't get
said,
to quit.
"Isn't that what we're fighting for?
Isn't that what we're fighting for?"
Like, you don't get to go do that unless you're in this fight. There's no choice."
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to make your own decisions, you have to do this first. It's almost like a prioritization thing. Right?
Yeah.
Almost 2 full seasons. The Emperor says this. It's Imperial. It's the Empire. It's the Emperor. It's the Emperor. It's the Emperor. When the Senator makes her speech, finally, she says, "Person responsible, da 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 da, Emperor Palpatine," she says. And it's the first time we hear his name.
First time we hear his name.
And it humanizes it. Before it's just this fuzzy thing. Now it's like, it's a dude who's responsible for all of this fucking horror and chaos and genocide and pain. It's one old man. That's all that it is.
That's all it is.
And, it's the same thing here. We've got one old guy here in charge of all the shit. We got one old guy in Israel in charge of all the horrors. We got one old guy in Russia in charge of all the horrors. But the difference is that those motherfuckers are not Jedi, dark force people. They're just old crooks. That's all they are. They don't have special. They can't teleport shit. They can't move shit around with their mind. They can't even declassify stuff with their mind.
Yeah.
They're just guys. They're just old men.
Right. And we're giving them the power. So where I starting to feel like I've got to season 2, my line of we're going to get through this. Because we are, but you better figure out what you're going to do. We all need to figure out what we're going to do so that we can.
Can what?
So that we can get through it.